It would seem as though.
Hi. That was weird. It seemed to start out really loud and then it got quieter. Was it my imagination or did
No,
that
I
actually
thought you
happen?
turned it down.
I didn't do anything. I was just sitting here watching it going, why did it get quieter?
It's just going to keep getting quieter and quieter. Without
maybe we'll be quiet too. That's not likely, but maybe.
I've never been quiet, not once in my life.
No. Welcome to another week of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly nothing.
I'm Best.
I'm Annika.
Are you?
No, I don't know today. You know, it's been a lot recently.
It has been a lot.
I'm sleepica. Just a little tired babica. You know what I mean?
Satica.
Satica, yeah. It's been a lot. This week has been a lot, you know.
This week has been a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm recovering fine. I'm achy. But being on, like, drugs that long, like, too many pills, makes me feel shitty in general. But Annabelle Lee, who you know is my first baby, she's 13. She just turned 13 last month. A couple months ago, her legs swelled up and we had to take her to the vet. It turns out she had a tumor. We tried everything. Over the course of the last, like, 2-ish months, we did steroids and antihistamines and we did antibiotics and whatever. But it just basically has gotten worse and developed. Like a pustule basically that popped and it leaks all the goddamn time. And so now it's just gotten to the point where she doesn't really eat, and if she tries to eat she pukes, and she's super lethargic. She's lost a lot of weight. I didn't even tell you this, but last time when I took her to the vet when it first happened, she was a little like over 50 pounds, right? When Gavin just took her on Tuesday a week ago, she was 40 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. Homegirl had dropped a lot of weight, and the vet said she should lose a little weight, but not like that. But yeah, she's struggling, and like, you know, anyway.
Right, because she's always been, you know, your little footstool-shaped dog.
Yeah.
And by the way, the sweetest dog ever.
Honestly, I was talking to Gavin about it last night. She really is. She's always been a very good girl. Like, she only has, like, ever had accidents in the house, was never, like, a constant peer. She's not, like, super loud. She's not mean. You know what I mean? She'll be mouthy to dogs for a minute and then doesn't care, you know?
Yeah.
She's just, and cats, like, nothing bothers her, and she's just such a chill girl. Anyway, she's not doing well. She's declining. So I talked to my vet yesterday, and it's time to make the compassionate call to just help her along on her little journey. But that's just, like, a lot. And so I'm, like, real tired. Because it's hard. You know what I mean? Like, 13 years. And like I told, she's been everywhere with me. We've gone on plenty of road trips together.
Yeah, as I was saying yesterday, she's your ride or die.
Yeah. Honestly, got her when
because literally that girl has gone with you everywhere.
Honestly.
Up and down the coast when you've moved. Mm-hmm. She's been your only companion.
Yeah.
And which is crazy to me that you as a young woman would drive all the way up the coast with no other companion but that little dog.
I know. And it's funny, I wouldn't really think about it. I'd be like, well, I gotta drive back to Portland now because this didn't work out or whatever. And I remember being like, I don't want to do this like 18-hour drive. But it only got to the point where I was like, oh, I could be concerned for my safety. Anytime I had to stop at like a rest stop and it was nighttime and no one was there. And I was like, I'm gonna die here. Or what's worse than that to me, truck stops.
Yeah.
I said, or no, bitch, I'm not a lot lizard. Don't look at me like that. You know, like, I'm not trying to do the hanky-panky with you in your truck. Like, no. I'm walking my dog and getting some food and leaving, you know. But yeah, Annabelle she's, you know, been to the Grand Canyon and she's played in the ocean and she's been in the desert and she's, like, done a lot of things. And it's just weird because 13 years is a long time, you know. I got her when I was 21.
Yeah.
You know, I got her when
that's a big chunk of your life.
Yeah, right? Most of my adult life. And so it's a lot. But I got her when she was 2 months old, you know? And it's upsetting for me. It's upsetting for the people who love her and know her. But I also think about Amelie Jean, my other dog, because Annabelle and Amelie have been together since I brought Amelie home.
Yeah.
And Amelie's now 8, you know? And so they've been together for a long time. And so Amelie's never been a solo.
Well, because Amelie was a puppy when you got her, yeah?
Yeah, she was a couple months old. And
So that's her whole life. She's been with her. Yeah.
And like when because we got her from OHS. I almost called it OHSU. Oregon Humane Society. Yeah, OHS.
Yeah. You did not get her from the hospital.
I know, that'd be weird.
That would be weird.
But she had a sister, and she was, so she got around other dogs, but she's really been around Annabelle consistently and whoever else, like Ace or whatever. But like, so she's never been a solo dog. And she's gonna have Kitty Girl, but Kitty Girl's an awful bitch. Even though Amelie and Kitty Girl are roughly the same size, it's still like.
But at the end of the day, Kitty Girl's a kitty who's like all dogs.
Yeah. Well, I think about when we go on vacation, Jean is gonna be like broken. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I need to like hire someone to stay in my house now because I can't imagine. She will be devastated. She won't eat her food, I'm sure. If I feed her and leave the house, she won't eat her food.
Right.
But if I stay out and hang out with her, she'll eat it. Because when I leave, she's like, oh, she's never coming back. I should probably save some of this. I know. She's my neurotic little baby. But yeah, so it is a big change. It is really weird. But, so my brain, as my brain works, I couldn't sleep last night and I woke up early and I've just been kind of wonky. So Saturday is the day. So I'll probably be fucked up until Saturday,
Yeah, I imagine.
But yeah, so that was my week.
Yeah, last night Parker said, as we, did our nighttime routine and read and all the things, and I had shut off the light and gone to take my pills and stuff, and as I came back out of the bathroom, he called me, and I walked into the room, and he goes, Mom? And I said, yeah. And he goes, do you know what this reminds me of? And I said, what reminds you of, sweetheart? And he goes, this stuff with Amelie. And I said, what, baby? And he goes, it reminds me of what we just went through with Othello. And I said, well, of course.
Yeah.
And he said, it just made it all come back for me. And I said, well, of course it did, because it hasn't been that. It's only February.
Yeah.
Actually the end of January, I guess. And I was like, yeah, I get it. I said, it wasn't very long ago, and he was your boy from, you were a baby.
Mm-hmm.
You were both babies together.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's like, I get it. And he said, it's just hard. Yes, it's hard.
Yeah.
Losing a pet is hard. I think it's as hard as losing a person.
I think sometimes it may be harder. And this is my only reason.
How much you like the person.
Right. But also, like, you see your pet every day, all day. Do you know what I mean? And when you think of the fact that, like, they're a part of your life, right? But, like, to them, you're their entire life. Like, they're with you from birth to death. Like, it's just a lot. And so I think animals love you harder than other people do.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I mean, I don't think, people don't love me, but like I think
Annabelle, dogs love you unconditionally.
Oh, unconditionally, right. And they, so it is. And there has been a lot of, helping our animals across the bridge, because Mixie was only in May.
Yeah.
So not that long ago.
It's been a rough year.
Yeah, and it's very similar to Mixie, other than Annabelle has like a wound, but she's like the whole not eating. She's disoriented in the morning, doesn't want to go out. Yeah, so
I will say for us that was the easiest, easy's the whatever, but with Othello, when we had to do that, was the easiest of the ones we've had to do, because he had stopped walking.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, we can't carry him, remember? And he, at the end, his last day, because we had made an appointment and all the things, because he couldn't even get up and walk. And his last day, he just laid in his bed and cried and couldn't even move. And it was like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's so
We're going to move it up to today.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't have him in agony.
No.
And it's like, so it's always an awful decision, but at least when they tell you, it's like, I've got to go.
Yeah, and that's what I super appreciate. Like you said yesterday, when vets, and a lot of people, when you remember that you're a human being, you know what I mean? And like, you're not trying to get more money out of me, you're being honest with me. Like,
absolutely.
We've done all we can do for Annabelle, and like, maybe now is the time. It's
when we had our old black lab, Willie, as we talked about the other day, I had gone to the vet, and he was like, well, he's full of tumors. Mm-hmm. And he's old. He was old. He was old when we got him.
Yeah, he was old baby.
And which was why we got him, which is kind of a whole funny story in itself. Mm-hmm. But he had been an old dog living in a shelter. Yeah. And I was when T worked at the shelter. And he called me and said, hey, come down and meet this cute dog. And I was like, nope. He was like, oh, I don't, no. I was like, no, we're not getting another dog. We're full up on dogs.
Yeah, full up.
He's like, I don't want this dog. I just want you to meet him because he's sweet and he's cute. And nope. I said, no, I know there's some kind of trick.
Yeah, I know you.
I know you. You want that? And he's like, no, I swear. So I go down, I meet this dog, and oh God, he was the sweetest dog.
Sweet boy.
Sweet old black lab who you just wanted to hug and kiss and snuggle.
All the time, yeah.
And so I started talking to him, and I was like, well, how long has this dog been in the shelter? And he said, well, he's been here for a few months, but he was in another shelter before that. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, well, he's old, and nobody wants to adopt a 9-year-old lab. And I was like, you mean to tell me this old dog is going to spend his last days on a concrete floor with no one to love him? Mm-mm. And of course, then I was like, nope. Mm-hmm. So I said, all right, well, he's coming home with me. And he goes, well,
that's not how that works.
That doesn't work that way. And I said, well, it does today.
Yeah.
I said, I'm taking him. You do all the paperwork. You do what you need to do. And he's like, but I was like, I'm sorry. I'm breaking the rules here. Yeah. It's nobody wants this dog.
Stealing the dog.
No one's going to be mad that I took him home.
No.
You go fill out the paperwork, pay the fee, do whatever. Mm-hmm. Just say your stupid wife couldn't follow rules and stole the dog. I don't care. And so we did, and he lived another 4 years. He lived till he was 13.
Good boy.
And he ended up, like I said, full of tumors. And the doctor, when I said, what would you do?
Right.
And he said, well, I would put him on a course of antibiotics just because he's very inflamed right now. He said, but no heroic measures. He said, because he's going to die. Yeah. He said, I would make him as comfortable as you can. Yeah. And when it's time, you'll know, because he will, when he starts really struggling to breathe, and when when the tumors really get worse and something, I said, okay. And so when it got worse, when I came home one day and he was laying on the floor just panting, and there was blood coming out of his mouth, I was like, okay, it's time. But then, as I said to you yesterday, then he made, tricked me, because we get him into the car to take him to be euthanized, and I sat in the back seat with him and was feeding him treats the whole way there. And he started acting like this happy little puppy, and I was like, "Oh God, it's not time.
Yep,
it's not time. Yep. Turn around the car. Go home. He's good. He's fine. He's healed. He's magically.
Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, honestly,
sitting in the seat with him, feeding him treats, is magically heals him. So sometimes it's really hard. I mean, it's always hard, but sometimes harder to know.
Yeah. Well, and that's what because again, last night Annabelle wanted to eat a little bit. She had a little bit. She didn't vomit. It was okay, but she's not eating enough to sustain herself, right? But yeah, it was in these moments where she's good, and Kitty Girl got crazy, and Annabelle chased her for a minute, and I was like, no, I have to cancel the appointment. And Gavin's like, no, we can't do that. She's not comfortable. She's not currently happy. And so I am glad, though, that I am having it done at home. So I'm having someone come to my house and do it. I just don't, you know what I mean? She's been to the vet how many times in the past 2 months? I'm not trying to, she doesn't like it. Her tail goes between her legs. She bows her head. I'm not going to take her there to go be euthanized. So it is more expensive, but I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I don't care. I would much rather have her be comfortable. And people are coming over to see her. So, Sherry is coming and Astra is coming, so they can see Amber.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, so it'll be a day, but I wanted it so other people, I specifically Astra, I wanted her to be able to be there. She let me go with Mixie, so I wanted Astra to be able to come. And so this Saturday was I told Astra, I was like, I might have to do it a weeknight, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, but Annabelle seems to be okay enough, you know what I mean? She's not in pain, she's just over it, So Saturday at noon, but they give you a window, so a 2-hour window between noon and 2. But
okay.
So yeah, we're gonna spoil her as much as she can be spoiled right now, and So yeah, it's been a week, girl.
It has been a week. Well, and yesterday, because you gave me all of that news yesterday, and yesterday started for me weird anyway, because I found out that someone I've known. It's one of those things. It's like friend. Mm-hmm. A friend that I've known, but not a close friend. So just someone I've known for a long time, passed away. Mm-hmm. So I know I've talked on here before that I did not go to a regular college. I only went to beauty school, but I do belong to what I think of as kind of a sorority, which is the, being part of the Rose Court. And one of my sister empresses died yesterday, day before. I read about it yesterday. So coronation was 2 weeks. On Sunday would have been 2 weeks. And Lotta Marie Licker, who was, I think a few years younger than me, did her thing. She performed, did a wonderful performance, walked off stage, and fell, and was unconscious and never regained consciousness, and then passed away. And they think that I guess it was a heart attack, but it was just weird. And so that was how my day started. And so that, of course, made me very sad. And as I was explaining to my children, the sadness for me is rarely ever for the person who dies, because they're gone and they're on to whatever's next, wherever the journey takes them. It's always for the people left behind, their spouse, their family, their parents, their children, whoever, because that's always such a struggle. Lotta left behind her husband of many, many years, who's a very sweet man, and I believe her parents are alive, but it was just that's hard. And so I always feel the pain of that struggle. So I had just read about all of that, and then found out about little Miss Belly. And so I was like, oh.
And that
rough morning.
That is the thing about people, dying. It isn't really, when they die, right? That, not to be crude about it, but everything we do after the fact isn't for them.
No, it's
for us, right? And so even, yes, burial rites and cultures have their things to honor their dead, and that's important. But all the things we do, even funerals, are for us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's all for the living.
Yeah, bury the person, or do there's many different ways that cultures have disposed of bodies, but yeah, it's and that's great. We should feel connected. That's why you feel connected to your ancestors, or your friends, or your loved ones. But things are precious because it can end. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, in the cultures where they do a thing, whatever that may be, to give them a send off to help them get to the other side, that to me is more about them. It's we're going to help you get where you're going.
Valhalla, push the boat and set it on fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
And it's we're going to make sure you make it to the other side.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, especially in America and in English culture, it's more, we're going to make sure that we have some pomp and circumstance and we have some ritual about the death. And to me, personally, my understanding of it and my knowledge of it, Catholicism is kind of the worst. Because, we're going to go on for hours and hours.
Literal.
And we're going to do this whole thing, and we're going to... My first Catholic funeral mass, I was like, if I get that y'all believe in heaven, cool beans. But if you believe in heaven, and you believe this person's going to heaven, why on earth do you need to pray for 17 hours to get them there?
Right.
I imagine if they're going, they're going.
Yeah.
And they don't need... the whole big thing the night before, and then the long service. Because the first one I went to, it was the big service the night before.
Okay.
Which, I don't even remember what it's called. It doesn't matter. But it's a couple hours long.
Okay.
And it's a lot of praying and whatever. And then the next day is the service.
Right.
Which is at least an hour, 2 hours long. And it's a lot of kneeling and standing and praying and singing,
sitting,
and it's
kneeling,
oh God, I'm exhausted. And then you go out to the graveside, and there's a whole nother service there.
I know.
And this woman was 300 years old, and I thought, good God.
She was 300, is that what you just said?
Yeah. And I thought, when she died, I know that she was probably thank God I'm out of here. Because this woman was a fragile, tiny little bird of a woman who had been bedbound for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because she had diabetes and she was blind and all these... It's she was not going, oh no, I don't want to die. She was probably thinking, Thank God,
I'm
I get
ready.
to go now. I'm ready.
Jesus.
Where's Jesus? Jesus, come take me.
The
Take
wheel.
the wheel, but take me. Take everything. You know.
You can just drive me there, Jesus.
But it's really about, I feel, you know, it's like to make us feel better about what's happening. It's like, I don't think all of that's necessary.
Yep. I agree.
But that's me.
No, I agree with you. And I don't think it's all necessary. Again, if it's like a cultural tie, I feel like that's so different. Like, whatever your, you know, funeral rites are, I honor it. But I also think, like, when it becomes commercialized Christianity or anything like that, it's so, a lot of it's just so stupid to me. You know what I mean? And, like, I think you know, death is one of my favorite subjects. It's one of my favorite kind of everything, you know? And I love cemeteries and I love graveyards, and I just have always liked that darker side. And, you know, when I used to write a lot, death is, and sadness is always easier to write about. You know what I mean? And so I feel like, but for a long time, I feel like when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to say, like, death surrounds me because, well, it fucking did. You know what I mean? And for a long, I don't know, it got to a point where I was, like, not afraid of it. I was never afraid of dying. And I'm not afraid of dying now. Mostly I was afraid of, like, what I'd miss. Now I'm more like, the world is bleak. You know what I mean? Yeah. Set it on fire, let's start over. But yeah, so what's interesting though is because, you know, I'm into a lot of like mythology and things like that. Zoroastrians, which are, it's a religion from ancient Persia. Okay. So Iran. They used to do this thing, and I don't know what the act is called, but they would take their dead and put it basically on a pedestal in the middle of this like open, like amphitheater kind of thing. And it was just out to the elements, and they would let the carrion eaters and the birds eat the body, and then after like a month or however long, they'd go back and collect the bones and put them in an urn and bury the urn. And I was like, okay, that's like circle of life to me. Yeah. And then you don't have, you know what I mean? Think about how compact cemeteries would be if we just had, there's an urn, you know what I mean, not a whole fucking casket with a mausoleum. You know what I mean? But yeah. I think
absolutely.
It's really interesting. And people think that's macabre, but I'm like, that's so circle of life.
And I know we've talked about this before, but my whole thing is, you know, if it wasn't so damn expensive, burial at sea. And I know how you feel about the ocean, but it's like, the whole idea, though, is your entire body becomes just part of that circle of life, because it's like, they feed off of you, and then as your body completely disintegrates and whatever, it's like, it feeds the oxygen of the ocean. It's all that stuff, and it's like, I think that's great.
It is. It's super cool.
I know. It's. By the way, that thing you sent me.
What the fuck?
It was like a week or two ago. I don't remember.
Oh, a TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about how 60% of the Earth is deep ocean that's never been explored.
Yeah.
And how the things that live in deep ocean are unknown.
There's like a law. There's like a natural law that applies. Like that's why, and it has to do with how much oxygen things need to grow or something, right? And so that's why like animals above or closer to, you know, land can't grow enormously because they don't. It is like some pressurized thing, right? But the creatures that live in this dark water don't adhere to that,
right?
So in theory, they
can grow any size.
There could be gargantuan things on there. And people think, you know, that's crazy. I know people have their theories about what's in the bottom of all, you know. But girl, there's something. Like, you can't tell me there's not. You know what I mean? We can't explore it. You go down there and explore. Right. I don't know. Oh.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Listen, I watched this, because even though it does scare me, sometimes if I come across a video and it's underwater, I will watch it and then be all, I hate it. But there was this man in a pod, much like the, you know, like little submersible things, whatever. And he was like at the bottom, but I guess he wasn't at the bottom because he was trudging what looked like the bottom of the ocean. And then there was a huge black void that just looked like a hole in the middle. And you could see the other side, whatever. But it was basically just a lake at the bottom of the fucking ocean. And it's because of pressure and whatever. But what's down there? Girl, what the fuck is down that? Absolutely not. That is...
No thanks.
I hate it. You know, it's beautiful. I do. The ocean's gorgeous. All these creatures. Beautiful. But also, I would rather not. Thank you so much.
I'll pass.
Yeah. I would rather die than ever have to go down there.
Nope.
No, ma'am.
No, I don't want any part of that.
No.
I don't want any part of being in the ocean, period.
No, I mean,
even in the shallow waters.
Okay.
I don't want to...
I don't hate that.
scuba dive. I don't want to.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, no.
I don't want to. What's the other one?
Snorkeling?
Snorkeling.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Look, because there are things that I think are basic to other people that are not to me. Like, being even in a shallow and you're snorkeling or scuba diving and you can see a slope that gets deeper and darker. No. Looking down and you can't see the bottom and it's dark. No. Like, these things make me fucking panicky. Also,
and there we have to start again because interruptions.
I
But
know, so
listen,
sorry.
when we went to Florida, it was the only time I'd ever been in the ocean where instead of like here, the Oregon coast, where it just gradual, and you know whatever, I walk along and then there was a drop.
I would die.
And then all of a sudden, I went from being in water up to my knees to being in water up to my chest. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what happens next? Am I in over my head?
Yeah. So I do remember, I was going to say something. It was about, as a kid, and even as an adult, swimming, lakes, rivers, whatever. The water is deep enough, we're all treading water, right?
Yeah.
Because as a country person, you always learn to swim. I don't know. They throw you in the water and say, make it or don't. Swim or drown. But being in water, because I was so tall, I could like reach my toe down and feel the cold water, and obviously I would never do that because I hated it. Coming out of water, I always had that like horror movie mindset where like I'm about to reach the surface or I'm about to get to shore and something grabs me, something touches me, something X, Y, and Z's me.
Yeah.
And that's my even when I was a kid and in pool, sometimes if I was the last one leaving the pool, I'd be like, oh, well, this is where I die. You know what I mean?
God,
honestly,
yes.
like I
do know
that much fear of it. And it's happened as an adult too, swimming. Like when I was in Michigan at Private Lake, it's literally just the family I was with and myself, and being in the water, being like, oh no, someone's going to fucking get me. Like, I can't reach that low because something's down there and I'm going to disturb it, right? Like, I'm all about, like, I'm not here to take your land, bitch. You can keep it. I'm scared.
I don't want it.
And I don't want it. I don't want it. I can't breathe down here. What am I, a fish?
Right.
Yeah.
The other day I was watching, remember I told you last week that I was watching the movie Rose Red?
Yeah.
Thought of you.
Of course you did.
Well, because I was having a moment of terror.
Oh.
Because it's one of our shared terrors.
Okay.
I mentioned last week when we were talking about scary movies. I was watching Rose Red. I don't usually watch scary movies, but it's not really very scary.
But
it's about
Stephen
a haunted
King.
house. Stephen King, haunted house. This house is possessed with all these spirits that don't want anybody to leave the house. You know, whatever. And
I would thrive there.
Yeah, and it kind of felt a little bit based on the Winchester Mansion idea,
Okay.
you know. Anyway, and it played tricks on you. It made you see things that weren't there.
Cool.
Well, one of the people who was there had gone, he was outside and he walked over, there was this fountain, and in the middle of the fountain was a statue. Mm-hmm. And he gets to the fountain and it looks like there's a dead woman laying in the water. She had drowned.
Nope.
But the statue is like looking down, and then the statue opens her eyes.
No!
And then reaches up and pulls her face off.
No!
And I'm practically screaming because I'm like, no, closing my eyes. I'm like, no, I can't.
Yep.
You know,
I hate that.
Yeah.
Girl.
Could it have been anything?
No, it couldn't just be
couldn't dead girl have risen up out of the fountain?
Yeah, that would have been
fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
But statue.
But the statue opening her eyes. No.
I have two stories. One of them's not really a story. It's not mine. There's a show, you may have heard of it. It's called Doctor Who.
Yes, vaguely. It sounds familiar. It's been on for 100 years. Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's a reoccurring baddie, a bad guy throughout the entire, what is it called? Like the reboot of it with like David Tennant and all those people. They're called the Weeping Angels. They're made of stone.
Okay.
And they just look like angels that would be like in a graveyard, right?
Okay.
Like life size. Made of cement, they look like. But they're statues until you don't look at them. And then they move. And so it's like you look away and look back and it's moved closer. You look away and it gets like scarier and scarier and has like claws and fangs. Oh, I want you to know, they're scary. They're actually scary episodes. I'm like, this is supposed to be British sci-fi. Like, what is this horror movie? But yeah, scary. And people have said it's like one of the scariest things they've seen on Doctor Who, which I'm like, yeah, bitch, because it's horrifying.
Yeah.
Another one. When I was a kid, and Grandma was cleaning houses. I don't know who it was for. It doesn't really matter. It was a house in Portland, a couple, and lots of those couples didn't have children, so I would be like entertaining myself. If they had pets, I was playing with a cat or dog or whatever. There was a house that had a little statue, and this is all it was, like a forearm from like the elbow up. The hand was curved, like holding the jaw of just a face.
Yeah.
And it had this little like Mona Lisa smirk on it, and its eyes were closed, and I would stare at that thing from across the room, like the majority of the time I was there, being like, don't even fucking think about it. I will shatter you. Like,
don't open your eyes, bitch.
This is just like a hint into how paranoid I was as a child. I couldn't go into water alone or with people because something was going to get me, you know? I couldn't be around statues because the moment I look away, they're going to get me. Like, Everything was going to get me, girl. Like, and now that's genuine. Everything. I was afraid of fucking everything. But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, no.
Unsettling. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I get
so anyway.
I get it. I was going to tell you just something silly.
Yeah.
So my children, as you know, are now, like, they love the social media, right?
Yeah.
They love the YouTubes and the TikToks.
I know. Well, I recently got friend requests from Parker.
Oh, okay.
From Parker Maxwell on literally everything.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I find particularly funny, it's just silly, is now anytime someone in the house coughs, one of my children will go, coronavirus! It's like, oh my God, you're so stupid.
Honestly, yeah. Your children and the things that, they're just so juvenile, right?
Yes.
Like, the things they think are funny that I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's so cheesy. Like, the whole thing of, we talked about this the other day, like, raindrops on roses. That might be my favorite things. And, like, sticking your dick in a rotisserie chicken or whatever it is.
Yes.
Like, and they're just cackling.
Well, yeah, I know they were, Parker did it. It was like, oh, let me show you this video. And it was a child cursing.
Oh.
Hilarious.
I don't know.
And honestly, it's like, look, this baby keeps flipping people off. And it's like, and it's clearly it's a little baby who's not intending to flip it. Yeah, that's just where his little hand is going.
Love it.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
I mean, and it's
babies do that. They'll move their hands and that's what they do.
You know, children move, yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. Oh my God.
Different.
And it's like, oh, but watch this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it too because both of your children will say things like, did you see that? That wasn't it funny? Like, about whatever it was. Like, Grace watches YouTube at my house a lot. I make her watch something else first, and then I'm like, fine, you can watch YouTube. And yesterday I gave her rules. I said, if we're watching YouTube, it has to be something Halloween-based. It's October, right? But something will happen, and I'm clearly sitting with you watching it, and they'll laugh, and they'll be like, did you see that? As we're all laughing.
Right.
No,
what happened?
What? Or, and then they'll just repeat the whole entire scene like I wasn't there, and I'm like...
Okay, so first...
I know. And I'm like, how do either of you watch shows with your father? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you do this all the time?
They don't.
I know.
As a matter of fact.
It is funny. When they come to my house, they listen. They don't, they're not like throwing fits or not listening to me, ever. But they do talk over each other really quickly and really loudly, and they'll talk during everything, and they will, you know what I mean? It is very different, and I've hung out with them here, and so I'm like, what is the difference? We're literally 15 feet away. Like, but it's exciting. You're at sister's house, but I'm just like, you guys are so weird. Like, this isn't, like, novelty anymore,
Right.
This is like your second house at this point,
right?
And they're like, oh my God, we're going on vacation. Like, it's not.
We can talk through the TV show.
I know.
We can do what we want.
And Gavin, because he's just such a sweet man, they'll both be talking at him, and he's like darting back and forth, and his eyes are getting wider, and his head is like his ears are
swiveling.
Steaming. Yeah. I know, it's very cute. But I'm like, okay guys, Gavin's gonna fucking have a mental breakdown, so maybe don't. But, it's just they're teenagers.
So let the big man rest.
I know.
Leave him be for a minute.
I know. Well, and then Grace was over yesterday, and she saw Annabelle, and Annabelle's leg isn't great, and she was like, it's getting worse. And I said, I know. And then I was like, and I told her basically, like, it's gonna be time, Annabelle. We have an appointment for her, and I was a little teary-eyed about it. She's like, did I make you cry? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. And I was like, you didn't make me cry. I've already been done crying, girl. What are you talking about? She was like, I do that. I just bring tears to people. I'm like, bitch, like when she sang for us that one night and told us but she can't join choir because she doesn't want to make the audience cry.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm like, girlfriend.
So yesterday, well, was it when she said, she got in the car and she said, I really miss the Queen.
Oh my, yes, she said that yesterday. And we're both like, what?
Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah, the Queen of England?
Goes, no,
what?
Your friend who died, you don't even know her name.
I know.
But you really miss her? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, but you don't know her. How can you really miss her?
Girl, I love that was the first thing she said right when she got in the car after school was, I really miss the Queen. Well, girl, what?
Queen Elizabeth?
I know, that was honestly where I was going. And then I was like, you little colonizing bitch.
She's just such a funny girl.
She is.
She says the most, or she'll make whatever, like when she, when I told her about, that news, then she somehow makes it about her.
Oh.
And it's like, this isn't about you.
She's like, I'm heartbroken. You don't know her.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm going to miss her so much. Are you?
Grace is very much
Tell me one thing about her.
How can we spin this disaster and make it about me? Like everything. I know it's your birthday party, but can we make it about me?
I used to have this client who, she would sit and tell me these very, very, very long-winded stories. And as a hairdresser, it's like, you kind of try to see where you can, get it. Make, like, I can relate to your story in this way and, like, throw in your... But with her, if you ever said, oh, yeah, no, I get that, I've had that, she would just look at you like, why are you interrupting my story? And then as soon as you stop talking, she'd go, anyway.
Oh.
Ugh. And then I was like, oh, okay, sorry. It was just...
What a bitch.
Most people, when they tell you something, they're, want you to leave, it's like...
engagement.
Have a conversation, not a monologue. Right. But she was all about the monologue.
She's like, I'm giving my soliloquy, bitch.
But this bitch, I think, was completely crazy anyhow. Because she would tell me shit like, she went to Las Vegas all the time because she'd gone to see the Siegfried and Roy show 457 times because she was dating one of them. And I'm like, they're queer.
Yeah.
How are you dating
Aren't they
them?
dating each other?
Right, they live together.
Yeah, they're just bachelors, girl. Good friends.
All right, they're bachelors, wink, wink, nod.
With all their pet cats.
Right. I think they took that cat thing to a whole new level, and then one of them, the cats ate the other.
Oh, well.
So, whatever.
Again, circle. Circle of life. Well, you play with it. You fuck with nature. Nature fucks back, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like an H your ass bitch, so... Maybe don't own wild animals.
Well.
Right.
It's own a monkey, it'll tear off your face.
Oh, I know, girl. Anytime I see any sort of monkey now, I'm like, don't get too close. You might rip your face right off. But those capuchin monkeys are so cute.
I still don't want one.
No, but I'm not afraid it's gonna rip my face off.
No, it's chimpanzees who'll rip your face off.
Yeah, girl. I don't want an animal that is that strong. I think loquacious is probably really strong. And I'm sure a little fat's really strong because they're bigger dogs. My dogs are not, so I'm not concerned. But I don't want an animal that could rip my face off or, bite it off.
I think if she was really pushed to it, your cat could probably rip her face off.
Maybe.
She's 20 pounds of,
honestly. Do you know what's so fucking funny? And I didn't notice it until Gavin pointed it out. And I pointed it out to Grandma when she was at my house yesterday for God knows what reason. But... Kitty girl sitting down, and cats often will sit with their front paws. She's sitting down normal, front paws closer together. No, not kitty girl. Kitty girl's fucking...
She's splayed out across the floor.
Her feet are so far away from each other. She's sitting on her butt, but her front paws are so far away from each other, there's 5-inch gap. And I'm like...
She's fat.
You slack-jawed idiot. Why are you sitting like that?
I'm sorry, but sometimes we can't get our thighs together.
Honestly.
So...
And she's like, I can't.
Are you fat shaming her again?
Yes, again. Well, the vet said she's chunky. Misgendered her a lot. And said she was too fat. And I said, listen, this is traumatizing. You stabbed her with a needle. You're calling her him constantly. And he said she's fat. So, to a trans black woman... You're being very disrespectful.
I can't even.
Literally. I know, and my house is a safe space, except I call her a fat bitch literally every day.
Well,
mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. So,
All right. Well, I think we've talked about all the things we were going to
Did
talk
we?
about. But now we're going to talk about... We decided it would be fun. Since we had so much fun doing the Am I an Asshole thing, we decided that once a month we would do those. And now that we've talked about all of our just randomness, we're going to do a few of those.
Yeah.
So we're going to have... I'm going to have Annika look those up because I don't know how phones work.
I know.
Because they're challenging. What's a phone?
What's a cellular
I don't know how they work.
telephone?
I have a phone. I use it mostly as a paperweight.
Do you?
I do because I don't know how it works.
Okay. You have to keep talking because...
I have to keep talking?
Yeah, because it's going to be dead air. What are you doing?
Oh my God.
No one can see us.
I suppose that's true.
I know. I'm just trying to... There's some that are stupid, you know? I'll read this one because it's dumb.
Okay.
No, I won't. It
You
is
won't.
literally a goddamn novel. I don't know why they'd write 17 pages.
Okay, well, while you're looking, I will, because, we also listen to the Am I the Drama, in the morning. And the one this morning, I was like, you're not even the drama. There is no drama. Actually, you know what? This morning's was dumb. I will do yesterday morning's, was a woman was getting ready to go visit her family for the holidays, and brother calls her up and says, hey, I want to buy your plane ticket. And she was like, no thanks.
Yeah.
I'll buy it myself. Because she didn't want that to later come back and bite her in the ass, have him owe him anything.
Yeah.
Or have him be like, remember that time?
I did this thing for you.
Yeah. And so she was like, no thanks. And so he then said she was ungrateful. And it was like, no. I get it. I mean, I would have probably taken his money and then been like, no, you offered.
Yeah, it was a gift.
Yeah, it was a gift, and gifts are gifts, so blah. And if it came with strings, then you should have said that right up front.
Yeah.
But,
that wasn't a part of this deal we garnered, bitch.
Nope. Sorry about it.
Yeah?
Oh,
I'm sorry. That was at the end?
That was it. That was all.
Okay. I'm super ready. Am I the asshole for making my family member and her infant leave during a wedding ceremony?
Ooh.
My brother got married last weekend in a church, and my entire extended family was there. My brother and his fiancée were adamant on the reception being child-free except for my 10-year-old cousin because she's well-behaved and one of the only children in our family right now. Fine.
Okay.
My cousin has an 8-month-old son that she brought with her to the area for the weekend, but she also brought a nanny to watch him while we're at the wedding.
So far, so good.
She ended up bringing him to the ceremony at the church, which we didn't know she was going to do, then have the nanny watch him during the reception. During the ceremony, he started babbling and talking, in quotes, and wouldn't stop. Slap him. He didn't cry or anything, but he was very loud and making disruptions. My brother's fiancée was visibly angry, and aren't they getting married? So she's the bride. Kept turning around to glare at them, but no one said anything. After it went on for about 10 minutes during the ceremony, I turned around and asked her to take the baby outside, which she did. After the ceremony, that whole side of the family was very angry with me. My one aunt kept saying how mad she was that I made her grandson leave the wedding. They continued to talk about this all during the pictures and said that he was fine because he wasn't crying, he was just mumbling. They're very family-oriented, so they were all pissed at me for a while after that. But since it was my brother and his fiance's day, I wanted it to be perfect. So, for them, and to help them out since my now sister-in-law was visibly angry at the altar. Am I the asshole for making my cousin leave the ceremony with her loud kid? Edit. I really appreciate the amount of people telling me I'm a hero or the best sister-in-law ever. It really helps me justify my actions here. No. I don't think you're an asshole.
First of all, if it said no children,
yeah,
then no children.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
I have a very radical statement.
Well, go ahead.
If you, parent, whoever, come into a place and your child is acting a fucking fool, do something about it or remove them. Because I hate it when parents bring a child in, the child's misbehaving, and they're just like, he has to learn, or like, I'm not just going to leave because he's acting up. Like, fine, then make your child behave. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't come into my store. Don't come into my proximity. Don't act. Don't come to my wedding. Don't come to literally anything with your fucking infant and have it throw a fit. I don't care. I don't care who you are. That shit's annoying and it's disrespectful. And I feel like just because you shot a fucking infant out of your crotch doesn't mean that I should have to deal with the consequences, because guess what? I didn't choose any of that shit. I do remember one time in Long Beach, there was a cafe, and the cafe used to let people smoke outside, right? So people smoked outside, smoked cigarettes, right? And this woman came out, summertime. She sees groups of people smoking cigarettes outside. Yeah?
Okay.
And she decides to come out with her newborn baby and sit outside amongst the cigarette smokers, and then decides to come over and tell everyone that they shouldn't be smoking. Can you guys stop? Can you move away? Blah, 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 because I have a baby. And I said, no, take your baby inside or go away. Like, they were here first. They don't need to leave. Who cares if they're smoking cigarettes and you don't like it? That's none of your fucking business. And there are other places you can go. You don't have to be out here. And the owners don't care that we're smoking. You know what I mean? Like, it was just it's just so entitled to me that just because you have a fucking child does not make you better than literally anybody.
No.
Sorry you made choices that restrict how you can do things now. That's not my fucking problem. Anyway, your turn.
All right.
Have you found a good one yet?
Yeah, I think so. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a novel.
I know.
Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend's sister about his plans to smear cake into her face at her birthday party?
Okay.
Now, I'm just going to say before I ever read this, I was listening to one of the podcasts that I really enjoy, and she was talking about this very thing, about that, how that's not funny.
Mm-hmm. Is that?
And if you did this to me at any occasion, if it was a party at my house, I would make you leave. Mm-hmm. If I was at a party somewhere else, I would just leave.
Yeah.
I would just get up from whatever that moment was and get the fuck out and be like, I'm done. Because it's not funny.
No.
I find it super disrespectful.
Yeah.
Now, if you think it's funny and you and your whoever you're doing, like at your wedding, if you and your husband think that's cute and funny, that's on you.
Yeah, do it.
Cool.
I don't care.
But I think it's gross and disrespectful.
Yeah. Don't do it to me.
It was my 24 female. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's who she is. It was she's a 24 female, and her boyfriend is a
boyfriend, 24 male, sister's 27th birthday.
Okay.
This past weekend, my boyfriend told me about the plan he made with his brother, 29, I think, to push their sister's face into the birthday cake during the cake cutting. I asked him if that was tradition in their family, and he said no. They just wanted to screw with her in a fun way on her birthday. Already, I'm like,
that's not fucking fun.
He's like, will she think that's fun? I told him that they should at least tell his sister that they were going to do it, and he said there would be no fun in that since she would not ever agree.
Oh, so no consensual face shoving.
I kept telling him not to do it then, but he told me it would be fine. I decided to tell my boyfriend's sister about it ahead of time so that she would duck if she needed to do something. She told me, thanks for letting her know. Anyway, my boyfriend and I went to the party yesterday, and my boyfriend and his brother were right next to their sister during the cake cutting, and I saw their hands like behind her head as she was bending down to blow out the candles. And out of nowhere, it was like she had eyes in the back of her head or something. She quickly got back up and maneuvered, and I guess somehow she pushed her older brother's face into the cake, and he seemed to try to do it to her. It was pretty funny at the time, since everybody but my boyfriend and his brother were laughing. Anyways, before we left the party, my boyfriend asked me if I tipped the sister off before the cake cutting, and I admitted that I told her. And told him that I had to, since it would be wrong to humiliate her on her birthday without her consent. My boyfriend was a bit upset for a bit, but he said he wasn't that upset since his sister ended up pushing the other brother's face into the cake. Instead of his. Am I the asshole?
No, and I love that.
How could anybody be upset, really?
No.
If you were going to do it to her, if you were going to do it to her and that was your plan,
sure,
you can't be mad if it got done to you.
Exactly.
And it's like, and I would have absolutely told her, they're going to do this to you, so if you're okay with that. But I'm going to tell you this story that I can't get out of my head with the pushing someone. taking a piece of cake and pushing it into someone's face is bad enough. But I saw this video where, you know how a lot of cakes, when they do multi-layered cakes, they put the dowels in them?
I knew you were going to say this. I was literally just thinking about this.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about then. Where somebody pushed someone's face into the cake and the dowel went right into their eye. And I'm like, so now that's all I can think of.
Yep.
You know, if it's a little Costco cake, well, whatever. But still, you have to know your audience. If you're doing it to someone who you know would think that it's funny,
sure,
whatever. But yeah, I don't think most people, especially if it's a woman who's done her hair and done her makeup for this party, she's not going to think it's funny.
No, and I want you to know, as a bitch who, well, not recently, but who wears practically a full face of makeup every day that I leave the house, if you did this to me, I would take a razor blade to your throat.
Well,
full stop.
I'm just going to say, if you were out at a party, you would for sure have lashes on.
Yep.
You would have foundation on.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, and that would ruin your lashes.
It would ruin them.
And it would also take off your foundation. And
also,
that would be an angry girl.
More so than just my makeup, my skincare is very important to me, and you're going to clog my fucking face with sugar and cream, and nope, I would be mad. Plus, I just showed up to my birthday party ready to have a good time, and you ruined my night.
Yeah. Nope.
I would leave.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's another one. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend if she wants more spending money, she should work on getting a better job instead of asking me to pay more of the bills?
All right.
Okay, so me and my girlfriend split bills 50-50. However, I make significantly more. Nope, then you're an asshole.
I'm thinking no.
I make significantly more than her 8 to 10 times depending on the year since she works as a teacher.
Wait a second. 8 to 10 times more than her?
I would never be with this person. So we agreed to go half and half on expenses like rent and utilities. I cover most of the other living expenses like food or groceries. So the other day she asked if I could pick a larger percentage of rent and utilities so she could start saving more. I told her I'd be okay with that if she was paying a larger amount than normal because of my lifestyle, and she was still paying the same amount that she was paying before we moved in together. So am I the asshole? And I think, yes, you are the asshole. Here's why. Because if you're with somebody and you make a huge amount of money like that, why won't you just pay the rent? You know what I mean? Just pay rent. And you know, if that was me, let's say I made 8 to 10 times more than Gavin, I would be like, get a job you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, stay where you are, get a job you want. Like, I can afford everything and it's not a struggle. And I get it out of like, relationships are also never 50-50 and they shouldn't be that way. You know what I mean? Because some days, someone is going to have a lot more to give than you. And some days, you're going to have a lot more to give than them.
I actually just heard this not long ago. I was watching my good friend Dr. Brene Brown talking about that, saying how relationships should average out to 50-50, but some days they're 80-20, and some days whatever. But I'm going to give you a very personal example. When I met my husband, he said to me that he was very concerned about that exact thing because I made a lot more money than he did when I met him.
Yeah.
Because I worked 3 jobs, and I was a lot older than him.
Yeah.
And he was working at a nonprofit, so he made minimum wage.
Yep.
And he said in the relationship he had just been in that it was a 50-50 split of the bills, whereas and he made, again, minimum wage, where his then partner made a shit ton more money and came from money, and so had your trust fund and lots of money.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's not how I've ever been. My thing is, we take all of our paycheck, throw it into one pot, pay the bills, and whatever's left is ours. And so it's like, if we pay all the bills and there's $10 left, we're probably not doing anything very exciting that week. If we pay all the bills and there's a couple $100 left, whatever, then we have some money to do something. But, you know, the idea that this man makes 8 to 10 times what she makes and is still like...
Well, she's a teacher, so what does she make? $45K?
Probably.
And I don't know. What the fuck is 8 to 10 times more than that? You know what I mean? That's so much money.
Yeah.
And you pay rent? How much are you paying in rent?
And why are you paying rent? Why don't you have a house?
Girl.
I don't even know, but it doesn't make sense to me.
No.
It makes you just sound like a greedy asshole.
Greedy, selfish. Yeah, and listen, I can't expect people to care about anybody else in the world if you can't even care about your significant other. You know what I mean? That's nuts to me. Excuse me, I'm delicate.
I'm going to read this one, but I'm not even sure what... It's like, what?
Okay.
Am I the asshole for making 3 boys be expelled?
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
What they do.
I am a 12th grader.
Okay.
The boys were 2 10th graders and 1 13th grader? It's like a super senior?
Yeah.
What is that?
Someone who...
I was having a CS extra class. What does that mean?
I don't know.
And I asked to go to the bathroom. While I was still in the cabinets, I heard masculine voices there, which is weird as I was in the girls' bathroom. Okay, so obviously it's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I opened up my cabinet and found 3 boys in the doorstep. I'm not understanding even what's happening here. I asked them to leave and they refused, saying that they wanted to F me.
Oh.
And the other girl in the other cabinet. So I'm guessing that's the stall.
Yeah, that's
supposed to be British.
I'm assuming.
Okay.
They say things weird, like
then
aubergine.
Another girl comes in and asks the boys to leave me alone in a joke tone. It seems that it was the usual thing for her, but not for me.
Yeah.
I passed through the boys rapidly, and I was running back to class when one of the boys repeated himself and said he would do it to the girls that remain in the bathroom. I went inside the class and told my teacher about the boys, but not what they had said to me. She went outside and found them inside the bathroom, but gladly no girl was in there. Next thing was them being called by the supervisor and suspended, while my friends were trying to calm me down as I didn't realize that it was a sexual harassment issue. How do you not realize that? I told my parents and the next week they got expelled. Sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in school said that I did too much over something so small. Nope.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to ruin their lives over a harmless joke. That is the problem.
Yeah.
As I see it, these boys, had they gotten away with that, would have learned the lesson that boys will be boys.
That's
and you
okay.
can, if you want to harass girls, if you want to sexually harass or sexually attack or whatever girls, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as, it's like, well, it was just in fun. It doesn't matter. We were just having fun. That's okay. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You were absolutely in the right. You were 100% in the right.
Agreed.
And hopefully these boys learned a lesson, and hopefully they'll never do shit like that again.
Yeah. Yeah. Girl, I feel you, because I think that shit, you're just teaching that whole, like, boys will be boys mentality, like, man up kind of bullshit. And...
Well, and that girls are somehow responsible.
Yeah. It's rape
and girls have to be, like, the bigger person. It's like, those boys... they didn't mean any harm. Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. 100%. And even if it's just words, like, language matters. I want you to know that. Granted, words aren't going to kill you, but it matters. The whole idea of, like, that whole rape culture and the entitlement of men is so fucking nauseating to me. I just want, like, most men I just want to slap. Just 'cause.
Yeah.
Like, what have you done today to scare a woman? You know what I mean? Let me slap you. This one's interesting. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I the asshole for laughing when someone said they wouldn't want to have kids in a Western country because they might end up like me?
Okay.
I, 19 female, and my friend D, a 19 female, are both international students doing the same course. We're currently on the same team for a group project. I'm German Indian, and D is Singaporean Indian. I speak German, Hindi, and English. D speaks Tamil and English. English is the only language we both share. One of our group mates asked why we both speak in English to each other when we're both Indian. He said that this loss of language and culture is the main reason why he's never going to get married and have kids outside of his home country, and that it makes him sad to see people like me and Dee who were raised in the West lose their culture. I laughed because it was funny and I couldn't stop myself in time. He asked me why I laughed and I explained to him that there's more than one Indian language. It got awkward after that and he seemed to be a bit embarrassed. He told me I could have been nicer about it. D kind of agrees because she's worried that it might be difficult to get her project done if he's unhappy. D asked me to apologize for laughing at him, even though she agrees he was condescending. No, I think if people make fucking rude assumptions about you, you should laugh in their face.
I have no problem with her laughing.
No, and the fact that he made an assumption saying, like, oh, the fact that you're both, like, Indian and you speak English to each other, well, it's because she speaks, what does she speak? Hindi, and D speaks Tamil, which are just two different languages.
Well, and she started by saying the only language they share in common is English.
Yeah.
Now, I could see going, I'm curious why, because you're both Indian, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Why English is the language you both speak.
Yeah.
You know, because I could see asking that question, because I'm just curious about that.
Yeah.
If that's not a rude question to ask, can I ask that question? Blah, blah, blah. But to be like, ugh, I don't want to do this because they'll turn out
I'll never have children in the Western country.
It's like, well, now you've just gone to being hostile.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Well, and then being like, we could have been nicer about it. Like, no, you could have not been an ignorant
you could have been nicer.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, so you got your feelings hurt because you were being dumb, and now you're like, well, that mean girl hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I hate that.
I'm a fragile man, and you hurt my feelings because I said something stupid and you called me on it. Wah. I don't understand that.
No, me either.
It's like, you know, I'm sorry you were embarrassed, but you should have been.
No. And yeah, and you know what, I always go back to, if people want you to speak warmly about them, then they should behave better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you want me to not laugh at you, if you want me to take you seriously, then do better. You know what I mean? Like, don't be a fucking asshole. Don't be condescending. How about that?
How about that?
You want to do another one?
No, we don't have time. Oh, we're done.
Fine.
We've done our bit. We've done our shtick for the week.
No.
But really, I think at the end of the day, if you don't want someone to laugh at you, you don't want someone to think you're an asshole, don't be one.
Yeah.
Choose your words differently.
Choose your words differently. And going back to, like, bringing your child to something, to, even though they don't want children there just because it's your kid. Like, no. Like, here's what I'm going to say in general. Don't say shit without thinking it through. Don't do things because you feel entitled to anything. Like, that to me, the pompous, chicanery of these people where they just do what they want and they feel so fucking entitled and like, well, but I had a kid, or, well, I'm a man and I asked you a stupid fucking question, or I'm a boy in a girl's bathroom and I said horrible things, but now I'm getting expelled and somehow that's your fault. Like, people just don't want accountability, and that is the most frustrating thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to actually take just a second and jump back to the whole baby at a wedding thing.
Love.
When Parker was little, we were invited to a wedding. And I asked the brides, I said, would it be okay if we brought our children?
Yeah.
If not, that's fine. Then just T will go and I'll stay home with the babies. And I said, and that's fine. That's no worries. Because they were actually friends of his. Yeah. And I barely knew them. And they were like, no, that's fine. It's a real cash wedding. Just bring the babies. And it was like, and Grace must have been like 3 or 4. I was like, okay. So, and it was up at the Forestry Center.
Okay.
So I come with the babies and, you know, whatever. And this woman turns around and looks at me. She goes, oh, you brought a baby to a wedding. Just like that. It was like, wow, the condescension dripping off you. And I said, I sure as fuck did. I said, after consulting the brides. Because they said it was okay. Sorry I didn't check with you.
Oh, you brought a baby to a wedding. I kind of love that. Now I want you to know.
Oh, look, you have a baby in a bar. I was just like, I'm sorry I didn't ask you, but I didn't know you were in charge.
Yeah, cunty magoo.
Right, good God.
Step off before I kill you dead.
Yeah. Listen, we're done now. We just have had so much fun here, but we got to go.
Ma'am, I've been done.
Bundin
already had hers.
Right. And that's it for us this week. And if you want to send us an email, let us know what you're thinking. It would seem as though at gmail.com.
Jamal.
Yeah. At jamal.com.
At jamal.com.
And we will read your email.
We sure will.
Probably on the air.
Well, if we like it enough.
Yeah. if it pleases us to do so.
If it pleases us, the words.
But in the meantime, we're going to sign off and talk to you next week.
Yeah, bye. Make good choices. Love ya.
Or just make choices.
Bye.
Whether they're good or not. Meh.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It would seem as though